Hello and welcome to yesterday's Airlines. In today's video, I'm continuing my look at the wonderful custom models that have been made for me recently by my friend Dan Tung of DT Custom Models. And arguably, I have saved the best for last, because in this video, we're going to be looking at the Ilyushin Il-86. Nobody can accuse the Il-86 of looking like some Western airliner. Big fat wide body, but still got 4 engines under the wing. Very Soviet. Obviously, as we all know, the Soviets really struggled with civil airliner engines, and that ended up being the handicap of the Il-86. But still, it is a wonderful looking aeroplane. I've written about the Il-86 over at yesterday's Airlines, so have a look at the website and search for my Candid About the Camber piece. The Il-86 became notorious for having short legs, just didn't have the range. But that hasn't stopped the type from having quite a successful career even into the 2000s. And even though there were just over 100 Il-86s made, there's been a surprising number of secondary operators. And the range wasn't a big enough handicap that you didn't see these 86s operating tourist routes to the Mediterranean or to places like Phuket. So the 86 got a lot of secondary operators, and a lot of those didn't really repaint the entire aircraft, which has made it possible to create these wonderful custom models. And the model that's really enabled the creation of these has been the recent JC Wings Aeroflot re-release that came out, or was announced in November last year. And by keeping most of the Aeroflot scheme, the cheat line and the air around the cockpit and the belly and all of that, but changing the titles and the tail logo, you can get quite a wide range of different operators in there. And we've got 6 to look through quickly in this video, so let's get on to that. But before we get into that, please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Chuck a like on the video if you enjoy watching it, and check me out at my other channels at Yester Airlines on Instagram and Facebook, and yesterdaysairlines.com, the website. Thanks very much. So we'll start with Soyuz Airlines, the airline of the Moscow government, quite a major operator in the early 2000s. This aircraft, RA86138, is a 1993 build, and it was operated until 2010. But that wasn't long before Soyuz themselves went bankrupt. They'd been renamed as Moscow Airways, but that didn't save them, and they were out of business soon after. Next up, one of the first national carriers formed for a new CIS state was Kazakhstan Airlines. It only lasted for about 5 years, going bankrupt in 1996. Operated at least 7 Il-86s, wearing this quite attractive scheme, keeping the Aeroflot cheat lines, but adding a very nice tail. It was replaced by Air Kazakhstan, which took over the Il-86s, didn't have a great deal more success, and then eventually you're into Air Astana, where we are nowadays. The third Il-86 is one that was operated by Krasair. Krasair became a serious player in Russia in the early 2000s and set up the Air Union Alliance with a variety of other carriers. Operated at least 7 Il-86s at various times. This aircraft was still in service in 2008. And had been repainted into full Krasair colours by then, but Krasair went bankrupt not long afterwards when its whole Air Union alliance collapsed. Pulkovo was formed from Aeroflot's old St. Petersburg division, so became quite a major player in the Russian market in the late 90s and early 2000s. Didn't really gain its own identity till 97, and this aircraft, RA86073, never wore Pulkovo colours, just gained large Pulkovo titles over the standard Aeroflot scheme. It was being flown to quite a wide range of destinations, from Barcelona to Dusseldorf to Beijing, and it was still in service at the end of 2005. Pulkovo itself was merged into Rossiya in 2006. S7 Airlines remains one of the biggest Russian carriers, but before it was S7, it was Sibir, the airline of the Siberia. It operated at least 15 Il-86s over the years, half of which came off the back of Pulkovo in the mid-2000s. This aircraft was one of those. It's a 1987 build, but it was operated by Pulkovo before joining Sibir in mid-2003. Got around on tourist routes like Larnaca, Dubrovnik, Phuket. And it never got repainted into S7 colours. Still around and operational by mid-2008, but stalled soon after. And our last Il-86 is another CIS aircraft. This one was part of the Uzbekistan Tashkent Directorate of Aeroflot that passed over the new Uzbekistan Airways in 1992, along with 9 others. Initially, they just wore this quite simple scheme before being repainted into a much more elaborate Uzbekistan scheme, and then one aircraft even got into the blue top scheme in the 2000s. This aircraft seems to have not been used that much. It was stored at Tashkent by 97 and hung around there for at least a decade before it was broken up. So that's a whistle-stop tour of the 6 Il-86s that DT Custom Models have made for me using the JC Wings base. I hope you enjoyed taking a quick look through these. Please check out my other videos on DT Customs Models. I've got one on the TO204s, one on IL-62s, and one on the 757s. I'm really happy with the models that Dang Tang has made for me. They've been fabulous additions to the collection, and hopefully there will be some more coming in the future. But for now, that's it from yesterday's Airlines. Thanks very much for watching, everyone. I'll speak to you later.